Well, hello there. You've come to part two of our little chat about the MCU and about Sony and Marvel. Last time we talked about Spider-Man and how he would change now that Sony have got full custody of him again. But now we're going to talk about Phase 4, about D23, about all the things that are going to happen now that Marvel is going to the next phase. So yeah, please enjoy. And Ryan Reynolds, if you're listening to this, my bad.
Let's move on
Swiftly
and talk
on.
about, after complaining about the MCU, let's
dive right in
become Disney shills for a little bit and
Let me put on my Disney shill hat. I didn't actually have a hat, I was just miming it.
No, he has a hat. He's lying. They sent him one in the mail because he far from home.
Yeah. And then Marvel checks, boy.
Yeah. So Phase 4, they announced. I think it was it a Comic Con? They announced it, but then
Yeah.
they announced more shit at D23.
Yeah.
So now we have I'd say 17 things announced.
Oh shit.
It's a lot of shit, and a lot of it we knew already.
Yeah.
But I mean, let's just run through. Let's go in order of release date. I've got
Okay.
a list here, and I'll just see what you think about it. First up, we got that's coming out. I think early next year, January 2020. I think is Black Widow.
Yeah. Is that gonna be a movie or TV show?
It's that movie.
Okay.
I've heard obviously it's a prequel, but then I've also heard a rumor that certain parts of it is taking place after Civil War.
Okay. I thought you were saying I was Endgame, and I was like, that's a boring stretch of film. Just Scott Johansson's body rotting in some faraway planet.
It's like that Austin Powers joke when Will Ferrell falls off a cliff,
Yeah.
and he's just like, "Actually, I'm
still
okay.
alive.
I'm just severely injured." And
Oh no, a bear! The
Yeah.
bear left me alive, but I really need an ambulance.
I'll try to stand, and then just that cracking sound of his limbs.
Hello up there. I seem to have fallen down a cliff. I'm still alive, but I'm very badly injured. I think my legs might be broken, but I'll try to stand up. Ah! Yes, they are broken.
No, that would be great, but I think it would ruin the tone of the film.
Yeah. With this one, I found it very interesting, the idea of the post-Civil War thing. I don't know if that's confirmed, so I might be talking shit, but that is interesting because that was a point I felt like there should have been a movie in between Civil War and Infinity War that covered that.
Yeah.
Because the idea of a secret Avengers team is very interesting. We only kind of saw the tail end of it in Infinity War.
The Civil War was kind of posited as this big breaking point in the Avengers, and we were like, oh shit, what's gonna happen with Tony and Cap? And we did all this point of having them fight, and they didn't really do anything with it.
Yeah, Endgame at least addressed it a little bit, but for the most part, it's it was resolved quite quickly because they just too many things in the schedule, didn't have time for it. So if we get a little bit of that from her perspective, that would be pretty cool. I don't know if that's confirmed or not, and presumably a lot of it would take place before. Presumably we're going to find out what happened in Budapest.
Oh yeah.
With Hawkeye potentially.
Yeah.
We also know that
we can talk about David Harbour, who's going to be in the movie as the Red Guardian, who is not Hellboy, thankfully.
I don't know a huge amount, but he's like Russian Captain America, basically, right?
Sure.
So that makes sense to have him in it. And then
I'm sad they don't get to fight. They have a Rocky 4 in the MCU, effectively. Guess not every one of my fantasies can be fulfilled.
Also, we got Florence Pugh is going to be in it.
Okay. Who's she playing?
I might be wrong. I think she's Yelena Belova, who is basically becomes as the second Black Widow.
Oh.
And I think she's a bit of an antagonist, but I mean, I got a feeling that she's maybe gonna almost take over the mantle a little bit, trading sides a little bit, maybe a bit of a bad guy, and then ends up being a new sort of
anti-hero kind of
thing. Going forward, maybe. Also, Florence Pugh is in Midsummer, and she's fucking incredible in it, so I'm happy that she's in one of these. And then we got Rachel Weisz who's gonna play this character called Melina, who I believe like lines up with a character who was called the Iron Maiden.
Okay.
Who kind of like wore this armor and was like a Black Widow villain or something.
Okay.
But then there's also the fact that a Taskmaster is meant to be a antagonist in this movie, and I fucking love that guy.
He's pretty cool.
He's excellent, and also they've made him better over the years. Because do you know what his deal is?
He's not like a Windows program, is he? Terrible joke, I'm sorry. But
that is awful.
Taskmaster is not responding. What does he do? Sorry, I derailed that for no reason. What does he do? What's his thing?
He basically has like, I can't remember the exact word, but he's like got photographic like reflexes. Or photographic skills or something. But basically...
He's a photographer.
He has is that a word? Photographic memory?
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, if he sees someone do something, he can do it. And he has incredible memory. So, a big thing of his... Like, for instance, in the Marvel vs. Capcom games, he's in that, and he copies moves of other fighters.
He's like a Kirby, effectively, of that game.
Yeah, he is basically Kirby. But, like, obviously, like, he's still a guy at the end of the day.
Much more efficient than Kirby.
But, like,
no, suckage.
There was a point where, like, a lot of the time he'd have a shield, and he would copy Captain America's moves, so he'd be as good with the shield as Captain America. It wouldn't be vibranium, but...
He'd have, like, aluminium.
He can just, like, look at someone while they're fighting, and once he's looked at them, he knows their fighting style, so he can kick the shit out of them, because he knows what they're going to do. And he can also use it to pick up anything. You know, like he can. I don't know. Can you think of a skill? I've forgotten every skill. He could.
You could watch this podcast and learn how to podcast.
I don't think that's what he'd learn.
But he could. He could go to like a U2 concert and then learn how to play the guitar. I forget the thing. These aren't the options that you want me to give you.
They're like the worst options you could have given me. Like just like he watches like he's playing Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4, and now he can do a kickflip. Important things like that. But anyway, he's pretty great. But also, Marvel have an occasional thing of switching genders and race and stuff with certain characters, especially when they're minor enough that people aren't going to get really mad about it.
But they always do.
Yeah, well, they'll get like a little bit less mad. Like people are less bothered about Heimdall being black than they would about Spider-Man being black. You know. So I think there's a chance that maybe Rachel Weisz is actually playing Taskmaster,
which would be cool.
Because I don't know if people are really clamoring for Iron Maiden, and if you've already got Red Guardian in there, I guess there's a chance that David Harbour ends up being Taskmaster, maybe. Or also it's an actor we don't know, but I don't know. It would just maybe make a bit more sense to me if it. Anyway, also a really cool thing about Taskmaster that I don't know if they're doing a movie or not is that part of the downside is that he basically has like no long-term memory.
Oh shit!
So and he can most of the time he can only remember things in terms of like skill sets and stuff,
like muscle memory.
He'll forget people, but then like if he sees them like fight. He's like, I remember that style. I remember that we fought before.
But I have no idea who you are.
I'm starting to remember who you are now.
Oh,
but like he has like lots of things where I haven't read these comics, but apparently it's a lot of like he will do a mission and then he remembers that he has to go to a phone booth, but then he like pick up the phone and be like, who am I? What did I just do? What is going on? And then his like his employer will be like, you are Taskmaster, you're going to do this. And part of the reason why he's kind of a villain is because a lot of his memories are based on the villainous things he's done. So when he's reminded of who he is, it's like, you're a villain. You fought Captain America. You did this thing. And he's like, well, I'm a bad guy. Yeah. And it's actually like a really kind of tragic thing.
Kind of tragic, yeah.
And it's a thing of like, I think at one point, like he has a daughter and he just doesn't remember her every time he sees her.
Aww.
And it's like, I don't know. It's a really actually cool character.
Yeah. Also makes some like crude joke, but I'm not gonna do it now.
What? Oh, what? Like an old boy joke?
No. I was gonna say like, he forgets his wife until he has sex with her again. He's like, oh, that's who you are.
That was nowhere near as bad as what I thought you were saying.
Yeah.
Anyway,
also the whole thing didn't cross my mind at all.
Also, they revealed some concept art of what he looks like.
Yeah.
I think it's slightly disappointing. I think because he has a fucking skull face. and they didn't go for the skull face. I love it.
Skullmaster's cool.
It looks cool, and they've gone for some other thing which looks a bit weird, and I'm not that into it.
Is it one of those like comic book movie things of like, this isn't gonna look cool in the film, let's like nerf it for some reason?
Yeah, exactly. Which is a bit of a downside, but at least he's got a mask, or that's she's fair. Got a mask or whatever. That's pretty much it for that. Well, for one thing, are you excited for that?
I was.
When?
Before Captain Marvel came out.
Right.
I don't know, like...
Is that a reason?
Yeah, a little bit.
Right.
Like, on the one hand, I'm kind of happy that this isn't going to be the first kind of female-led Marvel movie, but, like, I'm worried that's going to become the thing. If you know what I mean?
I think there's less pressure with that because they've already established her character, and they've already done their first female-led thing, so I don't think they're going to make a movie...
That's like again.
Under that pressure of, like, we have to make it very clear that this is about a strong female... strong
female superhero. Don't need no man or anything.
Yeah, a single female lawyer from Futurama. Cut to that theme tune.
Single female lawyer fighting for her client, wearing sexy mini skirts and being self-reliant.
Yeah, like
there's less pressure for
that. Is true,
and we already know who she is. Scarlett Johansson has grown into the role and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
So I don't think it's gonna be like that. I think it's gonna be very plot centric.
I'm hoping that is, but yeah, like I was kind of worried the way they went with Captain Marvel that like they weren't coming from the right place, and that whole thing in like Endgame, I was like, where they kind of had that whole girl power scene. I was like, please don't make this a thing.
Yeah, or make it a thing in your actual like text. Don't go like, we love women. Women are so great and powerful, and then not give them any like important roles in the actual movies. But like, look, they're all standing next to each other.
It's like having like.
Let's go back to the men who are actually shaping this.
You're happy now. Okay. It's like going to a wedding with like these friends all hate each other, and then having them in one photo in the wedding and be like, oh yeah, I went with this guy. It's annoying. And also like. Very recently, I kind of read about Scarlett Johansson online, and she's just like come out defending Woody Allen. I'm like,
she's doing her best to push the line of separating art from the artist.
She's this close to getting cancelled.
I think
so close.
I think she's enough for that. I mean, I'm no longer like. I think that the Black Widow character has been treated really well, apart from Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah.
And a
little bit in Age of Ultron as well.
I know people say that. I personally think that I like that arc. I think there's other things. Arc.
I think it was executed poorly.
I think it was executed well. I just think that like it didn't have to be there. Obviously, I think it would be better to have like female writers on that kind of topic and stuff. But I don't want to get into it a long time, but like my general opinion of Age of Ultron is that a lot of people kind of reacting to a surface level of Black Widow thinks she's a monster because of these things about herself, and saying that means that the movie is making that comment about her.
That's fair.
When the whole movie is about how every character wrongfully thinks that they're a monster. Every single character says it, and she's just one person who says it, and she relates it to one very raw part of her history. I don't think that means that, like, Joss Whedon thinks that infertile women aren't human, or whatever people were saying about it.
It's kind of a mental jump when you think about it.
It is, but it's become, like, a really, like, common take from that movie of, like, the way she was treated was incredibly sexist, or whatever, and I just don't...
I mean, there's a lot of reasons to dislike Joss Whedon, but I don't...
I might link to it in the description below, but there was a really passionate defense of that by a woman that I read who did struggle with fertility.
Yeah.
And was like, and said that she really loved that she related to her struggle with it and how she turned that hatred in on herself, and then made a point of saying that, like, everyone's saying that this is offensive to people like me, but I actually thought it was great. So I think there's more of a conversation about that, but anyway, let's not dwell on Age of Ultron for too long.
Because we've got a lot of films to get through.
Yeah, we're on the first one of like 90 million. But anyway, I think there's enough good work done with the character that if they make a movie about her, there's something to do.
Yeah.
This movie should have come out like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah. We should have had it before Homecoming, really.
Yeah, it should have been before like so much shit, and that's the only real downside to it, is that I'm like, you had to fucking wait until she was dead before she came. She didn't even live to see her own movie.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just like, it just feels like a little bit like too little too late.
And they can't really
but
do a sequel for it, really, can they?
That I don't mind. I think when they got these many projects on, it's kind of nice to think that maybe
this is a standalone movie.
And it's not going to be movies where, the thing I hate with franchises is when they leave things hanging on purpose to be like, well, we'll do a next movie, and then the next movie comes and then they don't do it, but then they're like, but we'll do it next time.
It's basically Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Or just like stuff of just like, this thing about this character is just completely wrong. But don't worry, they haven't truly become that character yet. They'll become that character by the end of this trilogy, whatever the fuck. And it's like, maybe they should just be that character. You know, maybe that arc should happen in one movie. And hopefully with stuff like this, like maybe there doesn't need to be like a Black Widow 2 or an Eternals 2 or whatever the fuck. It's just like we get a movie and then we can move on and do something else.
Yeah.
Because they've got a lot of stuff on their plate, including the first Disney Plus TV show Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which is fall 2020.
Excellent.
And that movie, we got Daniel Bruhl coming back as our boy Zemo.
Big Bub Zemo.
And we've also got Wyatt Russell, who you may know as Kurt Russell's son, who was in that episode of Black Mirror with the VR.
Yes.
I love that actor. He's really good. He's been in a few random things, but I think he's always been great. He's playing a guy called US Agent, who is effectively fucked up fascist evil Captain America.
Oh, I thought he was like a generic US agent. I was like, that's a underwhelming role.
It's like, the idea is like, it's like US Agent, but then when the A is capitalized, it looks like USA.
Oh, USA Gent.
Yeah. he's a gent from the USA.
Yeah.
It's like Ben Shapiro or something.
I mean, I watched Ben Shapiro fight Captain America.
That would be over very quickly.
Yeah. The battle for the soul of the country.
Anyway, he's cool to have, and that's why I think it's cool about these shows, is that you have room for like little characters like that to come up.
Yeah.
And if this show is kind of about like the legacy of Captain America, it makes sense to have someone in there who is like a dark side of that.
It's an excellent idea.
And then I can't remember if anything else was announced for it, but that sounds pretty cool. I think these shows are going to be like 8 episodes or something.
Okay, which is an acceptable amount for like these shows, because I feel like 13 was too many.
And I'm hoping that this takes a lot from the Ed Brubaker run of Captain America, which was very like intrigue, conspiracy, spy shit, but with colourful characters in it.
Excellent.
And I think there's lots of cool storylines to draw from that. Zemo, great character in the comics. He was great in Civil War. If they kind of like close the gap between him and his comic version a little bit, that'd be cool. Apparently in the footage at Comic-Con they showed a glimpse of him in the mask.
Excellent.
Which looks, I mean, I love that mask, so any version of it will be great. What are you thinking on Falcon and Soldier?
I'm happy to have Zemo back. Like, Kurt Russell's character sounds interesting. Sounds like an interesting idea. Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Good idea.
I'm happy for it. Personally, I'm actually not excited at all about seeing Falcon and Winter Soldier again as the actual characters, because I think as these last few movies have gone on, I think Falcon hasn't really been a character since the Winter Soldier. And
it's the first one he's in.
Exactly. And then it was very much introductory. Like, he's not secondary character, he's like tertiary.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier, I think he got some good stuff in Civil War, but it kind of ended up being like put into the background a bit by the end of the movie.
Like,
and
the thing
then
that
they never really, they kind of like dealt with a lot of it off screen. And then in Infinity War and Endgame, Sebastian Stan got like hundreds of millions of dollars for turning up and like looking at the camera and saying, "Let's go lesbians," and then like running in front of a green screen or whatever he did. So I don't know who these characters are right now, which was my only bummer with the whole Endgame passing of the shield, because I was like, this is great that he's passing the shield on to Sam Wilson. I love the idea of potentially having him be the new Captain America.
but the payoff isn't there because he's not had that much of an interaction.
Well, yeah, and I started thinking, I was like, well, I don't know what kind of character he's gonna be going forward. But I think that's actually a positive with this, because it's like, you get some new writers and they almost have a blank slate. They know what has happened to these characters, but in terms of who they are as people, there's actually like loads of room to do some cool shit.
Yeah.
I think there's loads of Captain America crazy villains to bring in. I hope they bring Arnim Zola back, and I hope he gets his dumb little robot body from the comics.
Excellent.
Have you seen what he looks like?
No.
It's like, you know, in Winter Soldier, he's on the screen.
Yeah.
He's like a robot body, but then the head is like a camera.
Is it like the Spider Slayer from the comics?
A little bit. It's like, yeah, there's a camera on the top, and then it's like a robot body, and then the chest is a big screen which has like his face as it looks like in Winter Soldier, where it's like a weird sort of image. It's not like a HD like webcam image or anything. It's just like a
dial-up version of him.
Yeah, exactly. And I hope that kind of shit comes in play. So I'm actually like quite interested in that. I think it's quite interesting as well that next year we're going grounded spy shit into grounded spy shit into space shit.
Space shit.
With Eternals.
Oh yeah, I don't really know much about the Eternals, to be honest.
I don't know. No one fucking knows anything about the Eternals, because this is some obscure shit. I think the big response when they announced it was a lot of comic book nerds being like, who? You know?
Yeah.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's mixed up in a lot of like beloved material. Basically, Eternals had kind of a spotty history. They haven't had loads of their own comics, or like not for a while anyway. But they're created by Jack Kirby.
Okay, which is good.
And he's incredible designs. I think a lot of it was like these leftover of things he couldn't write for DC, so he just brought them over into Marvel instead.
Yeah.
I don't think they really went anywhere, and they weren't that popular or anything. And I think some of the characters end up joining the Avengers at some point, but like fucking everyone joined the Avengers at some point in the comics.
It's like Johnny and Mensa.
Yeah. And then eventually Neil Gaiman wrote some Eternal shit.
Oh, hell yes.
And apparently that runs really good. But as far as I know from the storyline, it sounds like a storyline that doesn't really fit within the MCU, which means I feel like they've got kind of like a lot of room to do their own version of it.
Yeah.
And also, like, I don't know, it's kind of like that Guardians of the Galaxy thing of just like, we're just trying something new out there. Personally, my hope for this is that this is them establishing space Marvel stuff that has nothing to do with Earth Marvel shit.
Excellent.
The way this story goes, this could be set like 1,000 years ago. And it could be like in a galaxy far, far away.
Let's hope so.
Anyway, yeah, I don't really have much to say about Eternals.
The only thing I will say about it is like
good cast.
The cast is almost... It kind of reminds me of those like sci-fi films from the 90s, which have a really good cast, which bombed horribly. Yeah. And I'm a bit wary on that perspective, but then again, it is Marvel.
Alright, so we got Kumail Nanjiani, Angelina Jolie, Richard Madden, Salma Hayek, Brian Tyree Henry, who has never been in a movie or TV show that wasn't amazing.
Yeah.
So
the man has an incredible hit rate.
Yeah, and then Kit Harington.
He was there.
He's playing the Black Knight, apparently.
I don't know.
Black Knight is someone who, like, I never read any comic with the Black Knight, but I read up on him, and he seems kind of crazy in a cool way.
Sure.
Oh, yeah, and then Gemma Chan's in it as well.
Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, just don't know anything about it, but I think they're going to try and do Game of Thrones in space, and I think this is like...
Fuck yeah.
I think it's...
Wait, what season of Game of Thrones?
Yeah, I think basically they're establishing some more cosmic shit, and I think Guardians was always kind of linked to Thanos and was always gonna tie into whatever that end game would be. Whereas this, I think, could be its own thing. Although saying that, there are some links with like Thanos' race and stuff in those comics, so there is the chance that we get some Thanos stuff in there. Maybe I don't know if I want it or not, because I do want more different sides of Thanos to come through.
That would be cool.
But at the same time, I mean, there's a lot of stuff to do. So do we need to bring back?
We have to prioritize it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. What are you thinking on Eternals?
I'm willing to just like see like the cast is really good, and I don't know what to feel about that, but like I don't know. I'm curious for sure.
Yeah, then we got in 2021 Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
This is great in a Black Panther sort of way. This is like a pretty much historic moment. I mean, I might be super wrong on this. I can't think of any Asian-led superhero movie.
If we're counting the Green Hornet, which I'm not.
Right, yeah, and yeah, exactly. Yeah, so this sounds great. The guy who got cast in it, I've forgotten his name now, but he seems amazing. I think it's good that that's where they're going to put the Mandarin, and they're going to do a different version. And I think it makes more sense to, if you can get past the weird race stuff that is inherent in the Mandarin character, then it's easier to have him go off against an Asian American character rather than like a white American billionaire who's fighting like a Chinese invader. You know, it's a bit of a different dynamic. So
it's very 1940s.
Also, I don't know, I haven't read like a lot of Shang-Chi, but Shang-Chi was super popular in the 70s, and apparently his comics are really good. So I think there's a lot in there. And also I feel like it has to be quite different, because it's not like, I mean, Mandarin has superpowers, but like Shang-Chi doesn't. He's just like a super good fighter. So I don't know, it's just like, it's kind of like Black Panther, where there's a big sort of interesting world there, and also because of the way Black Panther worked out, I have like a little bit of faith that they're gonna like bring together like a group of creatives that like want to tell that story and have something to say.
Yeah, I can imagine it's going to be a highly like motivated project.
Yeah, and even though Shang-Chi is not a character I have any investment in, so I'm not like super excited about seeing him or like the Mandarin or anything like that.
I'm excited for like the event of it.
Yeah, and also just like, I think this actually has a chance of being the best movie in this lineup, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know. I just think that like it's that Black Panther level where it's like, we have to pull this off. You know.
Yeah, like a lot is like culturally, a lot is riding on this doing well. They've got like a whole generation of like Asian children growing up, and this is going to be their role model. Yeah, the same way there was Black Panther, and it was a big moment, and they'll grasp it.
Yeah, so and it's obviously it's just like a great step forward in representation anyway. So yeah, I'm excited about that.
Excellent.
Then we got WandaVision, another Disney Plus show, which has Scarlet Witch, and the concept art they revealed is like Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany, who plays Vision, as like in normal clothes, like in this kind of like 50s suburban Norman Rockwell sort of painting, like and it looks like they're going to be drawing from this recent Vision series, which I read a bit of. I didn't finish reading it, but it was excellent, and it was like about like the Vision sort of like him having his own like artificial family in the suburbs, and it was like a satire, and it was great, and it had this creepy edge to it as well. Also, I'm in love with that kind of aesthetic, because that is absolutely David Lynch's shit, which is like
100%
50s aesthetic, but like the 50s being this idyllic time that on the undercurrent of it was some really dark shit going on,
horrifying shit,
but like on the outside everything is presenting like it's all like happy and wonderful. And there's a lot of stuff in the comics about Scarlet Witch creating different realities, fucking with reality, losing her mind a little bit. It's a really weird angle to go with, but I think in a serial format this could be really cool.
I wasn't really excited about it until I heard about how it was going to be like played out, and I was like, yes, fuck yes, injected into my veins. And I'm really excited to see how that particular like 50s setting with Vision in it is going to play out. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah. Also, apparently, events of that is going to partially lead into the next entry, which is a movie, which is Doctor Strange in
the Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, which is my favorite title.
That's an excellent title.
And while I'm like I said, Shang-Chi is like something that I'm not like excited in the IP side of it, but I think it's going to be very good.
Yeah. This
is a movie which I don't know if it's going to be very good, but I'm extremely excited about the shit that they're dealing with.
Yeah.
Because I revisited Doctor Strange this year, as I think we previously talked about. I ended up like liking it a lot more second time I watched it.
It's a bit of a bad rep, to be honest.
Yeah, but I think that part of the weakness of that movie is that they have a very out there, crazy, interesting character in an interesting world. And then they did a lot of like stuff we'd already seen in movies.
Yeah.
Whereas this, I feel like they're diving straight into it. Apparently it's going to be more of a horror movie, or at least the most scary a Marvel movie has been.
Yeah.
That probably means that they're bringing in the villain Nightmare.
He sounds scary.
Who like rules over the nightmare dimension.
As you would.
Yeah, so that means like some crazy shit could happen. Also, Scarlet Witch is going to be in that.
Yeah. Is Dormammu going to be in that?
Dormammu is probably, because the thing in the comics is that Dormammu is like impossibly powerful. So Doctor Strange can never actually like just like fight him and defeat him. So every single time it's like the end of Doctor Strange, where he tricks him, makes a deal. He makes some way
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
Yeah, he makes some kind of... He finds some way to stop Dormammu from interfering in our dimension, but he can't actually stop him or hurt him. And Dormammu eventually finds another way to get around it, usually by like having an emissary on Earth or something, and there's like a million things he could do. So I think Dormammu is going to be like in play somehow. I don't think he's going to be a central antagonist.
He sounds like a cereal mascot trying to get like a bowl of cereal. Oh, Dormammu, you can't come into this dimension, silly Dormammu.
Yeah, but like instead of like Cheerios, it's like, you know,
the bloods of millions.
Yeah, the life essence of an entire universe. Dormammu's would be a good name.
Dormammu's.
I fucking love that image of like Benedict Cumberbatch like eating cereal, looking over his shoulder, and it's like Dormammu's like climbing through the window.
Dormammu shuts the window and
get back in the dark dimension.
Silly Dormammu. Don't you know Dormammus are only for wizards?
And my child companions who are just here.
There's some warnings in the background. Oh, sorry, like that image just popped into my head, and I was like,
I could see you while I was talking, and you were like your face was creasing up laughing, and I was like, I didn't say anything funny. But yeah, I think that's what it would be, but like other shit would be happening in that proverbial kitchen.
Yeah.
While he's at the window at the back, like, hey guys.
Yeah, trying to climb into the vent.
Presumably Baron Mordo is going to be in it as well.
Yeah.
But I think the good thing with there's a really good run of Doctor Strange comics written by Jason Aaron that came out in like 2015-16.
Yeah.
And I haven't read loads of Doctor Strange. I read some of the original Strange Tales stuff, and I read some of that run. The best thing, there's this one story which is so good where like basically Strange has been slightly depowered after this other fight.
Yeah.
So all his villains are like, now he's weak, let's go get this guy. And it's just a series of him fleeing from villains and then being caught by another one, and they're like fighting over him, and there's loads of really crazy shit. He like gets pulled into hell, and then he's out of it, and then he's like, and then Dormammu is there, and then Baron Mordo comes for him, and then there's this guy who's, I think he's called the Orb, and his head is a giant eye, like an eyeball.
Oh hell!
And he's just like, he can see everything, and he's just like fucking with Doctor Strange the entire time, and it's such a good story.
Yeah.
And I think this could go absolutely
go
crazy.
Way, yeah.
It could go crazy with it. And with a title like In the Multiverse of Madness, I hope that they go for that shit. I hope
fucking hammer.
I hope that there's almost like no shit where they're just like on Earth. You know? It's like all like dimension hopping and yeah, so okay, next up we got in spring of 2021 on Disney Plus, we've got Loki.
Oh, yeah?
I actually have nothing to say about this. I like Tom Hiddleston as Loki. After Ragnarok, to be honest, I was like, I've had enough. But not in a like I'm bored, but just like I've had a good meal. Yeah. Like, he's good, he's had a good arc.
Yeah.
So I'm not excited about this, but I'm sure it'll be fun. And also because it's meant to be the Loki of Avengers, he's more pure, mischievous, evil,
kind of just an asshole.
Which is something which is hard to, you can't really keep doing in movies, but as a TV show, as a one-off, Like, you can have Loki fucking around being an asshole with different people in different places, and I think that'll be fun. I'm not excited about it. I could do without it, but that's fine.
I was like, this is enough Loki, and I'm kind of concerned that it'll become diminishing returns after a certain point. But like, let's see what happens with it.
Whereas I think a lot of this stuff I'm like gonna be trying to see it like as soon as it comes out. Whereas Loki, I can imagine myself like a month goes by and I'm like, I might check out Loki. I hope, because these two TV shows have more time with them, I hope if you're gonna do this, throw in some weird magic and Asgard shit and just stuff that maybe you don't have room for in the other movies, or that you are never going to put in a Thor movie. I don't want them to be like Doctor Who episodes, because apparently he's traveling through time, which I still don't really understand, because he took the space stone.
I don't.
So I don't understand why apparently he's traveling through time, but I don't want it to be like just an entire episode of him like getting caught up in some tomfoolery and
I don't want quantum
Shakespeare. Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm fine with that, but then he shouldn't be meeting like Shakespeare or like Henry VIII,
punching a dinosaur.
He should be like seeing some crazy shit.
Yeah,
he should be going to dinosaur times, but then there's an alien invasion for some reason.
Yeah,
and then he meets the extreme dinosaurs. Like fuck it, like just do some crazy shit.
Don't go to like World War II or some bullshit. Like you have all of time and space to work with. Do something interesting with it.
And it made more sense when Doctor Who did that, because they're on like this BBC budget, so they can only do like one big spacefaring adventure every season. So a lot of the time he's going to be going to a place that looks like it's a set built in Cardiff, because it is.
It is a set built in Cardiff. Let's go to this place in London, which could look like it's from any time.
And moving on from that, we got the What If series on Disney Plus, which is going to be these what if scenarios, these alternate universe things that are told in animated episodes. I think they confirmed a few of the episodes, but like one of them is like, what if Peggy Carter got the super soldier serum and became like Captain Britain or whatever instead of Steve Rogers.
Yeah,
I think this could be really cool. They've also announced that it's going to be narrated like the original comics, where it's going to be introduced. The story is going to be introduced by Uatu the Watcher. Yeah, who I fucking love Uatu, and he's great, and I hope he actually ends up in the movies properly. Uatu, who's being voiced by,
I know you're not going to say Keith David, but I hope Keith David.
Jeffrey Wright.
Yes.
You know Jeffrey Wright?
No.
You will know him. He's in. Did you watch Westworld? For those listening, in Westworld, he is the what door guy, who's always constantly pushing his glasses up his nose.
Yeah. So you're a glasses problem, to be fair.
He's also in the Hunger Games as like a tech guy.
Haven't seen the Hunger Games.
The first two.
I tried watching the first one. I was like, this is bad.
First one, I'd say first one is bad. Second one is great.
Yeah.
Third one is great.
Okay.
Fourth one is bad.
Okay.
But those two middle ones are fucking good. Like, I was not sold, and I watched the second one because I was bored, and I got really into it.
Yeah.
What else has he been in? He plays Cuddly Whiskers in BoJack Horseman.
I know him. Okay.
I'm just gonna. You know what? After all this, I'm just gonna show you a fucking picture of him, because I feel like you'll know him. This guy.
Yeah, vaguely.
Anyway, he has the best voice. He's a very soothing.
Oh yeah, like
Mr.
Cuddly Whiskers. Yeah, like he's a really good voice.
Yeah, so I can't believe that's the out of all the things that was the thing. But anyway, him narrating all these, I think it's great. I also think it's great to explore. I don't know, the What If series was always great. So I'm into this because there's a lot of What If comics are like crazy because they can do whatever the fuck they want. Every time there's a big event, it's just like, what if this went the wrong way? You know, so like, what if Thanos won? Yeah. And shit like that. And they're apparently getting all the actual like cast members to voice their characters. Excellent. So it's legit shit.
What happens if like the Avengers got food poisoning that shawarma after the first Avengers movie? Things like that. Probably not that exactly, but things like that.
Yeah. Like, what if the first Ant-Man movie wasn't garbage?
Better bet.
Sorry, guys, just had to do it.
Yeah. What if Ed Norton wasn't a dick in the Incredible Hulk?
What if Clint Barton went after the KKK and white supremacists instead of exclusively killing people of color all around the world?
Just committing like anger hate crime, revenge hate crime.
Yeah. I'm so mad.
Shit, yeah.
Yeah, it's a weird detail.
It's like all Japanese people.
All Japanese people, and then off screen he kills everyone in Mexico.
Yeah. Shit.
There's enough crime going on in your own country, mate. Like,
Yeah.
you don't need to go worldwide.
Yeah. So he did walk out down to Godzilla in Japan. Oh shit.
What if Steve Rogers fucked? What if Steve and Bucky weren't gay lovers? Anyway, speaking of hate crimes, in fall 2021 we got the Hawkeye show.
That's a hell of a seg.
Yeah, so this is going to be, we don't really know much about this, but it's generally going to be him training up Kate Bishop, who in the comics I haven't read all of it yet, but there's a run of Hawkeye comics written by Matt Fraction.
Mm-hmm. It's a great name. So it's like a character in like Mortal Kombat or something.
Matt Fraction.
Oh, that's way lamer.
Yeah.
Matt Fraction.
I always get confused.
Decimals.
I always forget which way he is, but anyway, yeah, he does sound like Matt Fraction is like if you're reading like a school textbook for like maths, and it's like Matt Fraction has too many apples.
Yeah. I'm Matt Fraction. I need help dividing up these apples. But can you help me?
That run is really good.
Okay.
And part of it includes this character Kate Bishop, who is kind of like an up and coming young like Hawkeye basically.
Yeah. Hopefully less racist.
It's just become canon. But that series is great because, that series is one of the reasons why some people don't like the Hawkeye character in the movies, because it's not really anything like the character in the comics. For one thing, there's the whole thing of him being like this like criminal who was on a run, and he's a criminal until he's reformed as part of the Avengers. Also, he is disabled. He wears like a what's it called?
Hearing aid?
He wears a hearing aid. He has problems with his hearing, and they just, for some reason, they got rid of that for the movies, which is a bit of a shame. And also, his major thing is that he's a huge fuck up. He's like the fuck up Avenger, and it's a really funny series because it's just like, it's like him he has a dog, and it's just like him trying to get around his life in between Avengers missions, and he's like, and then he'll get into trouble with a local gang, but like in fighting them, it will like, I don't know, he gets the shit kicked out of him, and he pisses all his neighbors off, or there's always like shit going on, and he never comes out of things unscathed. Yeah. And it's a form of the character that's really good, and it's hard to do that when he's a family man in the movies.
Yeah. Sorry, kid, I spent your college money on the poker game.
Yeah.
I lost.
Yeah, that would be a way. Maybe he like loses his family in a bet.
Yeah. He bet his family in a poker game.
Or like the Yakuza come and murder his family like minutes after the end of Endgame.
Yeah.
And he's
got
like,
my family back, and they're dead again.
Anyway, so he's training her up. I don't know what that series could be. That's one of those things where I feel like, in terms of villains, they could just drop in any
minority. Just like him with like a pillowcase full of batteries, just like running around.
I was gonna say any like sort of lower tier Marvel villain. He could fight the Circus of Crime. He could fight the Ringmaster.
He could fight the Mandarin if he's like hanging around. He could push Shang-Chi out the way like, this is mine.
But he's just beating up some random old man. He didn't notice.
Oh, they all look the same to me, man. I don't know.
Leave Ben Kingsley alone. So I don't know what that's going to be. So this is the thing I'm least excited about on this list.
I'd be more excited if he was racist, to be honest.
I was kind of like looking forward to Hawkeye in Endgame, and I ended up like being a little bit disappointed by it, and then also not really seeing where that character could go. Personally, I still would have liked, in my what if scenario, it would be Hawkeye dies in Endgame, and then this slot is taken by Black Widow having her own series or her movie going here. Because I don't know, I'm more interested in Black Widow's future than I was interested in Hawkeye's future.
Yeah, which didn't seem to have one.
I like Kate Bishop though. Kate Bishop's a good character, but I don't really understand what this is other than introducing a new hero to the fold to take over.
Yeah.
Like, is a swan song. There's not going to be any Hawkeye after this, I can't imagine.
I hope not.
Then after that, we got, like, on the other side of the spectrum, we got something that I'm super excited for, which is Thor, Love and Thunder.
Thor, Love and Thunder.
Which...
Thor.
Holy shit. Even the font of this fucking, like, title makes me excited.
The font is better than Thor 2.
Yeah. I mean, Taika Waititi is back. That's sold already.
Yeah.
Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson, when they work with him, they vibe with him really well. They all have such good chemistry.
When they don't work with him, watch out. But
yeah, Thor has become an exciting character going forward now. I don't know how they're going to deal with the Guardians stuff.
That's what I was kind of wanting to ask, actually.
Because this is coming out before Guardians 3. Because I thought maybe Guardians 3 could just, like, ditch Thor early on.
Yeah.
But then if...
Or they could be like, he left after 10 minutes.
Yeah, but then this is coming out first. But saying that, Age of Ultron left Thor on a search for Infinity Stones and the truth behind what's going on. And then when we next saw him in Thor Ragnarok, he starts the movie off by being like, looked for some magic stones, didn't find any. And it was like a really funny introduction because they're just like, fuck that subplot, it was stupid.
Yeah, not doing it.
So they could start this one off and it's just like, literally starts with them dumping him. Or like Star-Lord like ejecting him into space.
Immediately.
You know? But
yeah, just straight right here, Thor. We're just gonna get something from the ship. Don't move.
Yeah, I think also this seems exciting to me because I think the place Thor is in now, having nothing, doesn't have to really have anything to do with the rest of the MCU necessarily.
He can do his own thing,
which I think gives Taika Waititi more room to just do weird shit with him,
which is excellent. What I was going to add is that, like, to be honest, Taika Waititi seemed weighed down by the Thor shit in Thor Ragnarok.
Well, I say not the Thor shit, but like
the Asgard stuff,
the Thor movie shit.
That's what
because
I mean.
The good shit in Thor Ragnarok is from the comics.
Yeah,
it's just like the Asgard stuff actually was like watchable because Cate Blanchett was hamming it up, but then like
you can tell he didn't really give a shit about the Asgard stuff.
Yeah, and it almost seemed like it like second unit shit. You know? But like the Sakaar stuff was like his jam, and it was amazing. And I wish we got a full movie of that. And
we might do that this time.
Exactly. Well. On top of that, I really did not see this coming, even though in retrospect it seems kind of obvious. But Jane Foster is gonna be Thor. Like she's gonna.
Oh yeah, obviously.
I don't know how that works in terms of like in the comics, Thor becomes unworthy. And then Jane Foster is worthy of the hammer and becomes Thor, while he is a character like known as Odin's son only, because he no longer has the power of Thor. And that's how they kind of work that out. But then in this, Thor has just proven his worthiness again, and he's got a new hammer, and the old one no longer exists. Yeah. And I don't know if they're going to forge a new hammer, or what's going to happen, or like maybe she's worthy of Stormbreaker and then he's not. I don't know, but either way, I can imagine Taika Waititi has a really good feel for taking outlandish things and then grounding it in ridiculous pettiness. Yeah. So having all this crazy shit going on, but Thor and Loki arguing like they're just
two brothers,
like two 14-year-old boys. You know, that's kind of good shit. Or Thor like trying to get Valkyrie's help to free himself from, you know, this ridiculous, crazy sci-fi situation, but the conversation is just awkward because he's trying to be kind of pro-women without coming across as weird or creepy. He does that kind of stuff, and I think you can tell it's going to be Thor being insecure because his ex is back on the scene. He doesn't know how to act around her, and she's showing him up a bit. And she's showing he's got power and he feels a bit useless. And I think that's a really cool, funny dynamic. And you can already tell how he's going to do that. And he's going to play that like
Like just
any
like a jealous
drama,
ex,
like any jealous ex thing, which would be really funny. On top of this, the fact that it's called Love and Thunder, there's an obvious route to go with this, which is a character called Enchantress.
Enchantress.
Like Cara Delevingne in Suicide
Oscar-winning Suicide
Squad. But she's also known as, I think she's also known as Amora, like the Marvel version. So they might just not call her Enchantress, or just think that most people are gonna think about Enchantress in that movie because
I already have.
Anyway, her whole thing is that she's got like, I think she's like basically a witch. And she's like sorceress, and she casts spells on people and hexes, and she also has that kind of like poison ivy shit of like seducing people and like bending them to her will. A big thing in the comics is she was always like trying to like make Thor like fall in love with her, so she could control him and stuff like that. And I feel like she's like one of the major Thor characters that it was kind of surprising she never turned up in any way. Yeah. Especially when people like Malekith turned up. So having a movie called Love and Thunder is pretty clear that she's and she, I don't think she's so big a character that she
will
dominate. But if they got loads of stuff with Jane Foster, and then they got Valkyrie there, and then they're probably going to bring back Korg, and then they might have other crazy spaceship. Maybe the Grandmaster will come back. You know, all this shit. Then it's like, maybe you can just have a simple bad guy, which is Enchantress. I'm assuming you're excited for this, because if you aren't, then you're wrong.
I'm a piece of shit.
If anyone isn't excited for this, then you have bad opinions.
Yeah. And we're kidding, we love you, but you suck. What's next on the list, Jack?
Well, that's like the last of like dated stuff. Then we got like Mahershala Ali came out at the end of Comic-Con and was like,
oh, he's gonna play Wolverine, right?
Yeah, he came out and he put a Wolverine hat on, and then he walked off stage and everyone was really confused. He walked on carrying the decapitated head of Hugh Jackman.
Someone should really have called the cops, but no one did.
Yeah. No, he's playing Blade.
Oh yeah, that guy.
I haven't rewatched the Blade movies in a long time, so I don't really know what my feelings are on this in terms of I like those movies, but I never like got really into them, and then I never read any Blade comics really. I like Mahershala Ali in a lead role in a
dramatic sense for sure.
In anything, I like him, having more of him in the MCU. I don't care that he was already in the MCU because I want more. Yeah. Blade is cool. It's interesting they're bringing vampires in. That's kind of all I got to say.
I will say that, like, the only thing I'm worried about is that, like, we're talking about the movies specifically, like, Blade is an aggressively 90s property.
Yeah, but that it's aggressively 90s if you're thinking exclusively of Wesley Snipes' Blade. Yeah. But the character is, like, 70s. Yeah. And has, like, decades of history that I'm not really privy to, but I imagine is not anything to do with even like the aesthetic of the movies. In fact, you know the whole thing of him being like half vampire or whatever, that wasn't in the comics for a long time. They introduced that like way later. Like there were loads of things of him just being
just a dude,
a vampire hunter.
Okay. I was looking just at the movies, like I just wonder how that aesthetic would like come to the present day without looking super like edgelord.
I don't think movies are really getting made like that anymore. Exactly. Where like they're accentuating the coolness. I think it's just going to be more plain face cool. It's not going to be like all these like close ups of like all the pouches he's putting like knives and sticks in, and
like an extended like dress up scene where he's like, I got this blade, I got this other blade, I got these sunglasses, and I'm cool now. I'm gonna like snip my hair so it's exactly spherical,
and not like sort of slow-mo shots of him throwing knives through the air or whatever the fuck.
Drop kicking a syringe into someone's face.
Well, I hope they have more of that, to be honest.
More motherfuckers skating uphill. That's what I want.
Anyway, after that, we got the confirmation that they are making a Fantastic Four movie. Okay. Which, hedging your bets, probably going to be Peyton Reed directing it.
That's better than Tim Story.
That's the lowest fucking bar in the world.
But that's the thing with the movie, is like you just don't fuck it up.
Yeah, I would like to see a really imaginative director do it, and I haven't seen anything of Peyton Reed that makes me think, wow, this guy has a really good like visual sense of anything. He's been quite good, and the Ant-Man movies have averaged out to be quite good, I'd say.
But there's nothing like signature about his directing style.
He works well with Marvel, and he's been wanting to make a Fantastic Four movie since before there were a big budget Fantastic Four movie. So
to be fair,
he's definitely like poking Kevin Feige in the ribs, saying, "Give me it." And they're probably going to give it to him.
To be fair, like, someone wanting to do a Fantastic Four movie is probably a good sign, because
that's the only thing about it. I'm like, it doesn't always work, but it is nice when someone like clearly
wants to make this movie.
Also, Fantastic, you know the last one that came out,
Fan Four Stick.
I don't hate it.
I think it's got some good stuff.
I didn't see it for a full year because people shit talked it so hard, and then when I saw it, I was like, "What were you guys complaining about?" It wasn't.
It was bad, but it was like it wasn't all the way through bad.
I thought it was like actually quite good for like 2/3 of the movie.
They forgot that,
and then it had one insane scene, which is nothing to do with Fantastic Four as a premise, but Doom walking through a facility, exploding people's brains with his mind was fucking great. I loved it. I was like, this has nothing to do with Doctor Doom or anything.
It's fucking crazy.
But I was like, this is insanity, and
it's like something out of Stranger Things.
And then after that, with all the reshoots and stuff, you can tell just like all these scenes that were the most, 2001 superhero movie shit.
Yeah.
Like, it was just vague end of world stuff. We have to do teamwork and fucking, what's her name?
Kate
Mara with that awful wig.
Oh.
It's the worst wig that's ever been
terrible.
In a movie. And you've got it right up against scenes of her not wearing it. So Michael B. Jordan was a great Human Torch, I still think. I think the rest of the cast were like I thought Jamie Bell was good.
Miles Teller I don't like as an actor, but I thought it was okay in this.
And he was a good casting choice for Reed Richards, I think. Kate Mara has been good in other things. She wasn't good in this, but
she can be good.
And there's a few scenes which are like, I don't know.
Like,
I don't want to get
Colin Trevorrow was like, he did Chronicle, right? Not Colin Trevorrow. Who directed Chronicle? Josh Trank, sorry, not Colin Trevorrow. He did Jurassic World.
That's the Jurassic World guy, yeah.
No, Josh Trank did Chronicle. I really like Chronicle, and I was like, oh shit, Chronicle director doing this. I was really into it.
Yeah.
But I think, like the movies kind of like did like 2 really good acts, and he was like, oh shit, I've got to do a third of these? I have how long?
Yeah.
And that's how the movie kind of like rushes to the end of it, and it's some bullshit. But I think if you have a director who realised he has to make 3 acts of a film, and actually wants to make it, I feel like it's such a low bar that they cannot fuck this up a 4th time.
I don't know, the problem with the MCU a little bit is like, it's that whole thing of the floor being high and the ceiling being low.
Yeah.
So I don't necessarily think that this will be a great movie if Peyton Reed's doing it, but I think it's going to be safe, and it'll be
aggressively okay.
Also, there's loads of, like, Fantastic Four, the thing they always forgot in those early movies is that Fantastic Four do dimension hopping, they do space travel, they're explorers. You can do fucking any cosmic shit you want with them.
Because the
doesn't have to have anything to do with the world ending. It can just be them going to a strange world that makes no sense, and they come into conflict with the ruler and have to escape. It can be like pulpy.
Anything.
It can be fucking crazy. It can be, and there's so many out there Fantastic Four villains.
But this is Peyton Reed, so
it's probably going to be fine.
It's going to be sort of B- of a movie.
Yeah, I'm sure it will be fine. But and then after that, we got our Captain Marvel 2 and our Black Panther 2 and our Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
All of which I'm excited for. I feel like now Captain Marvel has its feet under the table, will be a better film than the first one was.
I have no clue what that movie would be, because I don't know if it's gonna be set before Endgame, because they seem to deliberately leave room of like, I went away to do things.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming she didn't like travel 100 light years to get a haircut and then come back. She probably did something else as well.
Travel the universe of the world's best hairdresser.
That could be an entirely cosmic thing. On the other hand, I think people like her and Fury together. And with Far From Home post-credit scene of him being in space, makes me think he might be doing the sword thing, which is like the shield in space thing of like, let's protect the Earth from intergalactic threats. And if he's working in tandem with her,
that could be some cool shit.
That could be cool. No idea what that would be really. And then Black Panther 2, I trust Ryan Coogler.
Is he coming back?
Yeah, he's coming back.
Excellent. Yeah.
So that's all I needed to hear really. Yeah. That's probably going to be good.
Guardians 3.
Guardians 3. I think that's the one that's going to be most fucked up by Endgame, because they've got to deal with like the Gamora thing, and
the fact that like James Gunn has come and gone again.
Well, and also,
subtext.
I don't know how it's going to fit in and stuff. And there's like they set up a lot of stuff in that second one.
Like that whole
clearly,
like,
it's going to be Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
And by the way, I said on this podcast before that I think Adam Warlock sucks.
I believe you said fuck Adam Warlock.
Yeah. I want to unfuck Adam Warlock because I've been reading the Abner and Lanning run on Guardians of the Galaxy recently, which is when they reformed the team with Star-Lord and stuff, and that was the basis for the movie. This series came out in like 2008 or something, and that series is fucking great.
Yeah.
And also, Adam Warlock is in it a lot. Adam Warlock has this thing, he keeps dying and come back to life all the time.
Okay.
But like, unlike other characters, it's actually like meant to happen.
So he's like Kenny from South Park.
It's like, yeah, he's like a character who is like often reborn because he has a cosmic purpose, and he comes out of a cocoon and shit all the time.
Oh, that's fucking weird.
Yeah, but I never really liked him much in the... Cause he has a lot of shit with like the Infinity Saga, Infinity Gauntlet, and Infinity... I don't know. There's like a trilogy of Infinity things that I've read really recently. I can't even remember their names.
To Infinity and Beyond. Or...
But he has a whole thing, and then it's like he splits himself into his good side and his bad side, and then he has to fight them. He has loads of dealings with Thanos, and I find him quite boring in those. The stories around them are interesting, but he is always just this emotionless, like contemplative guy who is just vaguely powerful, and I just never liked it. But then in the Guardians of the Galaxy run, he's in that, and he's way more interesting because they depowered him slightly, and they have him kind of being reborn, but not knowing what he is being reborn for.
Yeah.
And kind of rejecting some of that purpose, but then finding a way. And then they also do a really good job of like the same thing you have to kind of do with Superman, of like, this guy's super powerful, so he has to be taken out of play somehow. But then when he comes in, it's
things
like,
get fucked up.
Shit, he's down here. And then also Abner and Lanning, they basically wrote Marvel Cosmic shit across multiple series from like 2008 to 2015 or something. It's all good. It's all amazing. So they can draw so much Adam Warlock shit from that for Guardians 3. Also, they got that other Guardians team, right? Stallone.
Oh, yeah.
I'm fucking into that shit. And they might not even do it, but it would be cool if they did.
Maybe they bring back Cosmo.
I hope they fucking bring back... That's another thing from this run.
Yeah.
Cosmo is fucking great. If you guys don't know, Cosmo is is a Easter egg gag in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie, where he's in the Collector's like collection, and he's the Russian dog that was sent into space, and he just...
It's a telepathic dog.
Yeah, but in the movie, it's just a dog who has a helmet on, and then there's a gag of him licking Benicio del Toro's face.
Does he like growl at like Rocket for a while as well?
Maybe, I don't know.
I know that's Guardians 1 and Guardians 2, but there's a bit where like they react as if they were like dog and raccoon on Earth, which I really just tickled me.
Yeah, well, the comics, there's a big thing of they inherently don't like each other and don't like working with each other. In the comics as well, Nowhere, like the head, the celestial head that they like hang out in the first one.
Yeah.
In the comics, the Guardians are based there for a long time.
Yeah.
And the head of security in Nowhere is Cosmo. And that's why he's there, because shit goes wrong and he's the guy who sorts it out. He speaks telepathically, has telepathic powers, but he speaks in like broken Russian English. And is a mix of, I don't know, a little bit of a dog good boy shit going on.
I am good boy.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it would be so goofy and funny if they actually did it. And I think Guardians could pull that off. Maybe. It would be a great gag of them to have noticed him before, but then at some point they're like, wait, is that dog speaking into my brain?
Yeah, I can see them doing that.
How is he speaking into my brain in a Russian accent?
What is...
I don't know, he's great. Bring him in.
How the Duck as well. I mean, they bring him as well.
Yeah, that might be like a little harder to bring in. Okay, after that...
Because he's in like Endgame, briefly.
Yeah, I saw that like in a slow down GIF, but I wasn't sure if that was an edit or not.
I think it was. I'm hoping he was just in it. It's a Howard the Duck cameo. I think Howard the Duck is worth trying again. Like it shouldn't be.
Oh, they're doing Howard the Duck.
Are they doing Howard the Duck again?
Yeah, but it's like not.
Is it? Please tell me it's not like 18 plus again.
I don't need to see Doctor Who. It's like because they announced like a bunch of like Marvel animation things they're doing, but I don't think they're like on one of the. I think they're maybe going to be on one of the Disney streaming channels that isn't Disney Plus, like Hulu or whatever. It's going to be an animation, I think, and it's probably going to be a kid friendly thing.
Oh, thank fuck.
It's like they did that, and Patton Oswalt is doing some MODOK shit as well.
Oh, really?
Because they didn't announce that as part of this Phase 4 thing, so I don't think they're going to actually be. I don't think it's going to be in the cinematic universe. It's just going to be
a thing they do.
They just do a cartoon on him. So
that's probably for the best.
Then D23, we got the fucking best news ever, which is 3 more Disney Plus shows. We got Miss Marvel,
yes,
Moon Knight,
yes,
and
She-Hulk.
Yep. All of these are great. All of these are things that I wanted in Phase 4, and was slightly annoyed that they weren't on it. Like, not annoyed, but like, oh, it would have been cool if that happened.
A bit bemused, honestly.
Yeah, so this is great shit.
I'm surprised that She-Hulk took this on to get into the universe. She's actually a really popular character.
Yeah, I think it's just hard to sell it. I think they've gotten to a level at this point where people who have no idea who she is are like, fuck it, that'll be fun. Yeah. I love Marvel. It doesn't matter if they think it's dumb to put the word she before Hulk.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're aware of the character before, then that makes sense. But yeah, when you don't, it's obviously
kind of insane. Yeah,
there's been a lot of comments online, obviously, of people going like, "Oh my god, you have to make everyone a woman. This is just representation gone mad." And then people are responding like, this character was like created like 30 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Like before you were born. Dude online.
Yeah. Some probable teenager online, just like.
Also, I got a prediction for this.
Yeah.
It is gonna be meta, like looking to the camera stuff.
Okay.
And people are gonna be calling it a rip-off of Deadpool, despite the fact that She-Hulk did that in her comics and that was her thing, and then Deadpool stole it.
Yeah, Deadpool was just like a lot of like mishmash of just tropes they had left lying around.
Well, Deadpool was like a serious character.
Yeah, and then Rob
Liefeld
kind of brought him in, right?
No, well, Rob Liefeld, I think, created him.
That was it.
Pretty sure, like, I've read a bunch of like Deadpool stuff, and he wasn't like
no
looking at the camera, knows he's in a comic book.
That's a very recent invention, isn't it?
Well, I wouldn't say recent, but like he was an established character for a while throughout it.
Yeah.
But then She-Hulk, I think it was in like the 80s. She had a series, and she would say stuff she'd do stuff like she would break off the white bars in between panels and like hit someone with it.
Yeah.
Like there was loads of meta things. There was
like fourth wall stuff.
I think there was a gag thing where at the end of one comic she was like, if you guys buy my next comic, you get to see me naked. And then in the next comic she's there, but she's like wearing like the black bars, so it's censored. Like it was like some goofy stuff. And then more later on she did like a lot of lawyer stuff, so they can do a law procedural thing with her dealing with colourful characters in the courtroom. Great idea for a TV show.
Excellent idea for a TV show.
Miss Marvel, I have nothing to say about that other than the Miss Marvel comic is amazing and it deserves to be made.
Yeah?
That's it.
I don't really know how much on that.
And Moon Knight, no fucking clue what that's going to be. Because he's very much like Batman, and I don't mean that just because he's a vigilante without powers, but I mean because his comics range from campy to very dark and fucked up psychological horror.
And we've talked about this before, but like I can only see one person playing Moon Knight, and that is of course Keanu Reeves.
I think this would be brilliant because it seems like a sort of decision that Marvel will make. They get directors or actors who have done something kind of similar.
Yeah.
So if they bring in Keanu Reeves to play Mark Spector, it'll be cool because it will be like, it's like John Wick, a kind of fucked up guy who's super violent and a sort of vigilante, but you're just doing that again, but in superhero shit. And then if he did that, he'd probably bring along, what's his name, like Chad Stahelski, the John Wick guy who was like a stuntman and shit. Yeah, so like, I don't know, that's like my dream for that.
Yeah. And like, if you want someone to veer wildly between campy and super dark, you want Keanu Reeves to do that.
Exactly, because he can bring the camp to the dark shit and the darkness to the camp shit. Like, he can mix that shit up, and he can be genuinely intense and good.
Yeah.
And then he can be ridiculous, and you're kind of with him.
Yeah.
He's gonna hit this really Like, the John Wick stuff really proved that he could just handle that shit perfectly.
He can just oscillate between it at, like, incredible speeds.
Yeah, so I think he would be excellent, and I feel like I'm definitely going to be disappointed when that doesn't happen.
I'm going to be devastated.
Because some other people said that he should be Silver Surfer, but I get why, of, like, a stoic, contemplative character, but
that's not Keanu Reeves.
I don't know. He can kind of do that. Like, he's like, people who don't like him think of him as someone who's not very expressive.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. But I think I can understand why people say it. And I think that, I think that's like a boring character to give him.
My dream is Moon Knight, yeah.
Yeah, and anyway, that's what I have to say about Moon Knight. Right, yeah. I have some theories.
You have some theories?
Right. In terms of events, it would make sense if they did Secret Invasion at some point or whatever.
That's a big one.
But I have like two other things that I think they might be doing, either instead or like before.
Okay.
Or after, I don't know. Basically, I think they're going to try and establish a cosmic side to the universe that will be fleshed out more and more over time and bring it away from Earth. And I think they'll do that as a way so people don't get sick of stuff. But they're also kind of testing that out with like Eternals. And they'll introduce elements in Guardians and Captain Marvel.
Strange as well.
And Doctor Strange. If they were to do that, they could draw from the Abnett and Lanning cosmic shit in the comics, and there's lots of event shit that happens in there that you could bring in.
Yeah.
And you could have Adam Warlock in that shit. You could have whatever's left of the Guardians at the end of Guardians 3 in that. You could have Captain Marvel, whatever character she brings in. You could have Eternals and all their shit. And anything, and then they could bring in Nova into that, and they can have a mini cinematic universe happening over there, you know, and that can build up to its own crossover event, whilst Earth can be left to do its own shit.
Yeah,
and I think that's a way which would be keep audiences interested,
be something new,
creative, and also mean that they can get two like Avengers level shit.
They may even combine them at some point.
Well, I don't think I think that's too. You want to do a crossover, but you don't want it to be so difficult. Like, I think they made Infinity War and Endgame so hard for themselves.
Yeah.
Like, they would have still made loads of money if they had less characters to juggle. As far as like cosmic shit, an obvious one to do would be Annihilation, which, aside from the fact that it's just a cool title, Annihilation there's a character. He's originally a Fantastic Four villain, which is why I think Fantastic Four could also tie into this.
Yeah.
He's called Annihilus, and he reigns over the negative zone.
Sweet.
Which is a dimension that actually is in Fantastic. He's just not in it for some reason.
Is that like where the final fight happens?
Well, no, that final fight happens in like a freeway, doesn't it? But like Doctor Doom's like opening a portal over a freeway, and a million cars are flying into the negative zone or something. Yeah. And then they have to shoot water at him.
Yeah. No, that's the first one, isn't it?
I'm just joking.
Oh, right.
But they had to do the teamwork thing.
Yeah. Let's actually be a Fantastic Four, guys.
Anyway, Annihilus is fucking cool. In the Annihilation series, basically the whole thing is that our universe is expanding. It's expanding into his dimension. And he's like...
Get off my space lawn.
Exactly. And then so he just retaliates, and he teams up with a few people to like give himself extra number, and then he has a thing called the Annihilation Wave. They're basically like space tech bug creatures, is like what he is and what his followers are.
Yeah.
Like a hive mind type thing with him at the top. And it's such a powerful wave that he just like wipes shit out and like planets, and it's like a really impossible situation that they only just pull back right at the end. And I think it's like they have to get help from like Galactus.
Oh shit.
To do it. I think that's a big crossover event you could do once you have all of those people together.
Yeah.
I also think they could do, there's a series called Annihilation Conquest, which it was like a follow-up series from that. And that involved Ultron returning after, I can't remember how, but he ends up being sort of sent into space and people think he's dead, but he finds a way to assimilate with a race of these like techno robot guys called the Phalanx. And they can basically assimilate people. So they like combine their tech with people and make them their slaves. And like while everyone's fucked up from the annihilation after that happens, he kind of comes in and then he fucks up like the entire Kree Empire and like,
oh shit,
and then people team up to take him down. And I think Ultron is a really good character to bring back, and you could bring him back in a way that's maybe a little bit more in line with how he is in the comics.
Yeah,
and bringing him back as a cosmic villain would be really cool.
Do you have James Spader come back?
Preferably, yeah. I don't know. I think I'd also be fine with him not having like the mocap face.
That was pretty gross.
And I think he's a character which you can easily like just revamp however you want, put him anywhere. He could be a minor villain, he could be a big villain, and you can always find a million ways to be like, oh, one Ultron robot, there was a backup. He sent off into the atmosphere so that Vision wouldn't sense it. Down, like any bullshit.
Tony Stark, you dead asshole.
Meanwhile, Earthside.
Earthside.
I think they can do their own build up to something, which has changed a little bit now the Spider-Man stuff is haywire.
Yeah.
But I think all these series, a lot of them are bringing in younger people. Mm-hmm. I think they're bringing in characters that can take over the mantle, that can make a team if they need to.
Yeah.
And I also think that they're bringing in all these like low tier villains, not low tier, but like not like universe destroying villains. And so you're going to get Zemo, you're going to have US Agent, you're going to have Taskmaster. And then you got whoever would be the villain in WandaVision.
Black Panther 2.
Any villain from Black Panther 2, from Hawkeye. I feel like they could drop these people in and just not kill them like they normally do with villains.
Or let them kill themselves.
And just like have them around, and then you can do a Thunderbolts team. Because it just seems it's on the table when there's no Avengers team.
Yeah. When
people maybe want there to be another one, and it hasn't been one that's formed yet. And you've got a character called General Thunderbolt Ross, who doesn't like the Avengers and has shown himself to want to exert control. So why not have him create a team of Thunderbolts that are from reformed villains that end up becoming more villainous along the way? And that could be just an Earth-based threat that has nothing to do with the cosmic stuff.
So what you're saying is we some kind of Suicide Squad.
Yep. My big plan is Suicide Squad.
I mean, like, Suicide Squad wasn't a bad idea in theory, so I'd be down for that.
Anyway, that's my thoughts on what they could do. But I think they want to hedge their bets. I think that's why they do things like Eternals, because they don't want to have to bet on
a Suicide Squad.
And they don't want to have to bet on like the characters they've already set up. But I did think the Thunderbolts would somehow end up being Dark Avengers and involving Norman Osborn.
Well, that would have been great, but
I really thought Norman Osborn was going to end up being like a big threat.
I think maybe they were going for that.
Well, then maybe they were never doing it because they thought that it
would be a gamble.
It would have been a gamble, because if we actually try and set it up, then it would be super disappointing.
And Sony would have us by the balls because they were like, you need this character. So,
yeah. Or they'd have to like do some weird trade to get Norman Osborn but not Spider-Man, and it would have just been weird.
Yeah, it'd been really stupid. Yeah, we'd have like Norman Osborn like being like, yeah, I'm the bad guy, and I got this son Harry, whose friend is called Parker Peterson.
I don't know. This happened. I have the exact same feeling as when we did the ranking the MCU episode.
Yeah,
which is I'm so tired.
We've been going for a while,
and I'm just tired of everything.
Yeah, like
and I just don't like movies anymore, and I don't like Spider-Man. I hate Marvel, and I hate comic books. I hate movies and TV.
Just burned out.
And I wish everyone were dead apart from me.
That would be nice. I mean, not me, but like, I don't know. We haven't talked about the X-Men, which they kind of like go like, that's definitely happening.
The specific phrasing was like, oh, also mutants will happen, or he says mutant. He didn't say the X-Men will return. He said mutants.
So he's gonna throw like
I think that's him.
Mutants or something like that.
Well, or mutants could like cameo in things or be seen in a movie that's not theirs.
Yeah, because like I don't know how they'd handle a goddamn X-Men movie at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of shit going on. I guess they could have it where like there's a chance that X-Men might not even be around to like Phase 6.
I'd be happy with that.
Because if you got all these sequels and then you got a few new things and you got Fantastic Four in Phase 5, do you need X-Men?
Where would they go? Yeah.
It's like, where would they go? And also, like, is there like a clamoring? Like, I know there's a lot of people who want X-Men movies that are like different to the ones we've got.
So not complete garbage.
But but there's like a lot of them still, and it's just they've been coming out consistently, and I don't
for like 20 years now.
I think your average person isn't going to be that much more excited about a new X-Men movie.
There's been so much fatigue over it,
and it's not like the Spider-Man thing where it's like, but let's put Iron Man in it or whatever. It's like there's already so many characters in that. Like it would feel weird if like we're doing an X-Men movie and also like Black Panther and Captain Marvel turn up.
Why the fuck would they turn up? Yeah.
Well, they're saying that. I want to see Storm in Wakanda,
so she can bang T'Challa.
Yeah, literally. Yeah. I mean, you know that happens in the
comics,
they
get married.
Right? Yeah, it's sick. I guess like
Lupita Nyong'o would be like, no, bitch, please.
Yeah.
We cast Wolverine yet. Like, I don't think we need another Wolverine for a while.
I don't need another Wolverine again.
I'd be like until like Hugh Jackman died.
One side of my brain is like Wolverine is done. We had a good Wolverine. He finished off with an excellent solo movie. Never need to see him again. Not that interested. I don't think there's many character dynamics that necessarily need to be shown with Wolverine. There's have X-Men stuff that you can do without him. And then the other half of my brain is like, I want to see him with the yellow and black costume. I want to see that big black eye spike things on his face.
Yeah.
I want to see that mask.
Oh yeah.
No,
also, do you know what we forgot? We got like, I don't know if they're coming up, but like Deadpool was going to come into this some point as well.
That's funny actually, right? Because they didn't announce him, so he's not going to get a movie for a while. I'm betting actually, I don't know where it would be relevant.
Yeah.
Deadpool is going to be in a post-credit scene at some point before he gets a movie.
I can dig that.
Because he's like the only character you can do that, and it doesn't matter if he doesn't have a movie coming out.
Yeah, he can just show up in post-credit scene.
You could just have like at some point, like just, I don't know, Deadpool walks on.
Yeah.
Makes a joke about the fact that like he's owned by Disney now, and then like walks off, and then that's all you need.
Yeah. You could do the whole McBain thing of having him just in lots of post-credit scenes, having his own movie just in post-credit scenes.
Yeah. Well, just saying that I liked Deadpool more than I thought I would, and I watched it again and I didn't like it. And then I watched Deadpool 2 and I liked that way more than I thought I would, and then I fought on it a while, and now I don't like that as much. And I
kind of get what you mean.
Even though both cinema experiences were good, I don't
think they're good movies.
I don't know. It's good for levity, and I like what they're doing. It's just like there's too many jokes in it which are just like not something I'm interested in. Like, there's too many like, isn't it funny if we put an electric cable up his butt?
It's very
isn't it funny
juvenile
to like
humor.
Yeah, and I like there's certain types of juvenile humor that I really, really like.
Some of it's just like
I don't. And
like
some
the
of
Family Guy kind of juvenile humor, like someone getting punched in the face or something.
Or just like constant disgusting jokes about shit.
Yeah.
All the time. Also, there's a very definite like Ryan Reynolds shtick that he leans into super hard that has started to grate on me.
Yeah.
And I think he can be really funny, but it's
can
like
he?
I Deadpool.
I mean, like
Deadpool 2. There were lots of jokes in it that I really fucking made me laugh that I'll stand by, but there's just...
I don't think I've liked him in anything that's not Deadpool. Like, what has he done?
Van Wilder?
Oh, get the fuck out of them. It's that shit. Van Wilder.
Detective Pikachu? I didn't see it.
No, exactly. Yeah, no one saw that.
A lot of people saw Detective Pikachu.
No one liked it. Like, they were like,
I had like...
They must have said good world building and like terrible story.
I think it's like one of.
Like as soon as
I think a lot of people were like, the movie is fine, but I love Pokemon and they did Pokemon things. I heard a lot of that response. I'm not saying that like I'm not defending Detective Pikachu, but to say that no one liked it is like greatly overstated.
That's true. I think it was.
He was in X-Men Origins Wolverine.
Oh yeah.
He was in The Croods 2. Oh, that's not out yet.
He was in The Croods 1 then. He's in Waiting, briefly.
He's Family Guy as Ryan Reynolds. The Hitman's Bodyguard.
That was okay.
I never saw it.
Sam Jackson is better than he is.
He was in Life. I never saw that. Self/Less. Haven't seen that.
That sounds like a terrible film.
Mississippi Grind I heard was good. I haven't seen it. Million Ways to Die in the West apparently had a cameo.
That movie's terrible.
Yeah, I didn't see it. R.I.P.D. Remember that? I didn't see that. Safe House, I did see that. That was bad. Green Lantern, I still haven't seen.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
Buried was pretty. It was pretty okay. He was good in Adventureland, but like mostly because he was playing like just an asshole. He was good at it.
Yeah.
Blade Trinity. I never saw Blade Trinity.
Oh, like, I've not seen it either, but like the stories of the production, it sounds hilarious. It's like the Unknown Dr. Moreau, where I'm like, I like the story of this film more than the actual film itself.
I think Ryan Reynolds is like the perfect example of white straight male actors just being given 1,000 chances.
Yeah.
You know, like think about like Kristen Stewart, like has been doing incredible work in so many fascinating movies, but people are still like, she's the worst actress ever because she was in Twilight, and where everyone was bad, and she was also bad in it because everyone was bad. And then like so many Ryan Reynolds films are just
he's batting is like .01.
Yeah, and they're all like, so many of them are bad, but they're also like failures. Like they're like him trying to do like the hot new thing, and then it's
crashing
like,
and burning.
Well, it's usually like movies that are like, they're not 1 out of 10s, they're like 4 or 5s out of 10, which is way worse.
They're not even memorably bad.
They're like these 2-star movies that don't quite make their money back or just about break even, and no one remembers them.
Yeah.
R.I.P.D.
He's had so many of those. He's in The Proposal as well, which was bad.
Oh, actually, one thing I'll say, he's in a movie called The Voices. He plays like a crazy guy who kills women, and he has a dog and a cat, and they talk to him because he's crazy. But it's somehow like really funny and really sad at the same time.
Okay.
And it's just like a really weird movie that he's actually pretty great in.
So there's one.
Yeah, there's one.
Hot garbage in.
He was on the Late Show with Stephen Colbert.
Oh god. His Twitter presence is quite good.
Yeah, he did a few Instagram captions, I think.
Yeah, they were really funny.
he trolled Hugh Jackman. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
That's not on this IMDb list for some reason.
No, it should be. It's top 5 of his credits at this point. At least he's Deadpool. Might still be Deadpool.
He seems to have a nice relationship with his wife.
And his wife is very attractive, and they have children together. And, so you know he's fertile.
I bet he probably has a like nice house.
Yeah, it's very, very rich.
He has Irish and Scottish ancestry.
Well, that's you want to be like a mix, you know. You can't just be pure ancestry. His name has alliteration in it.
He divorced Scarlett Johansson in 2011.
Dodged a bullet.
Yeah. IMDb has trademarks of Ryan Reynolds. Number 1, has appeared in several superhero comic book adaptations. Often plays likable regular guys. And the best one, tattoo on left wrist.
Oh, Ryan Reynolds. Oh, what a pointless career. Like, he's great in Deadpool, though. Love him in Deadpool. Love him in Deadpool. Well, folks, we've been here for about 3 hours now, and yeah, we've gone through all of the Marvel Cinematic Universe up to date. I hope you're all up to date with all that.
Jesus Christ, you know,
Jesus fucking Lord.
I mean, there's stuff to edit out of this, but I think there is a good chance that this is now 2 episodes. So if we have edited it down to 2 episodes, then congratulations on finishing part 2.
Yeah, good job. We hope you enjoyed part 1. We hope you actually listened to part 1, because a lot of what we said is not going to make sense otherwise.
And then if we did, I guess we'll just like edit in like a thing in the middle where Henry is like, sorry, here's part 2.
I have a lot of just apology, just recordings ready to go, just for this exact moment. Thanks for tuning in, guys. And if you have any questions, like my good friend Ron, please let us know. We love questions. We love talking about your questions. As you know, we can find us on the podcast thing. So that's SoundCloud, iTunes, and Stitcher, I believe. But we've got a bit of an update on the social media side, Jack.
Oh, yeah. I've launched an Instagram now. So we've got an Instagram for the show. And I mean, it's only early stages and everything, but it's kind of fun. And you can find us on there. It's like the rest of us. That 90s SM show is the username. And just put up stuff on there like comic panels and stuff relating to these episodes. So you can follow us on that.
Yeah.
Also, I can't remember who I ever said, but there's a Tumblr page as well.
Yeah, it's a Tumblr page.
Which is that 90smshow.tumblr.com, I believe.
We're also on the YouTubes.
Oh yeah, and I've been adding a few other things onto that lately, clips and stuff like that.
Awesome. And once I've got some time, there will be a Facebook page at some point.
Yeah.
Which you guys are.
Which Henry can fuck around with, and I'll stay far away from.
Because one of us doesn't like Facebook.
No.
Guess which one it is. Anyway, yeah, like if you want that anti-Spider-Man show, you're pretty much set for any one of your.
What is this sentence?
I don't know. I need to start again. If you like that 90s Spider-Man show, you can find us anywhere on the internet.
Yeah.
And if you like that 90s Spider-Man show, you'll be surprised and glad to know that season 2 it will be on the way. We've been fucking around with lots of little bonus episodes for quite a while now, but we're almost ready to get back into the groove, aren't we, Jack?
Yeah, we'll actually start doing what this show is about. Meant to be about again.
It'll be great.
We just got derailed because Sony killed my son, Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Because
he ripped out his beating heart and showed it to us.
Yeah.
It was horrible.
Corporation A fucked over Corporation B, and Corporation B is my friend, so I have to stan.
You do have to stan. When it's like two corporations which care not one iota about you, you have to stan. The point of that was that, we'll start doing actual episodes again. Yeah, you can look forward to that very, very soon. Well, not that soon, but soon enough. I think that's the end of our podcast. Any last words, Jack?
I never have any last words.
I thought I would ask.
Yeah.
So that's the end of our podcast, guys. And remember, Dormammu's are for wizards only. Go about your lives.